I'm John McQuay with 8541 Tactical, and this is Mail Call Mondays, the show that answers your questions about precision rifles, optics, and equipment. Welcome to another Mail Call Mondays, and we have got some great questions from you guys. So let's go ahead and get started. And our first question is from Josh, and Josh asks, 6.5 by 47 Lapua or 260 for a versatile precision match and bench rest rifle competitions. Awesome show. Thanks for all the information so far. Well, Josh, I can't really comment on bench rest, but as far as the 6.5 by 47 versus the 260, the ballistics are going to be very close on them. Now, there are a lot of people that believe the 6.5 by 47 is a little bit more intrinsically accurate. Also, the 6.5 by 47 utilizes small rifle primers, whereas the 260 utilizes regular rifle primers. Another factor to consider is 6.5 by 47 brass is really a limited number of sources that you can get. Most guys that I know run Lapua brass. I don't know what other sources there are for 6.5 by 47. On the other hand, 260, you can either go with Remington, Lapua brass. There are a couple other manufacturers out there, or you can form 260 brass from 308 brass. It's just a simple matter of running it through your full-length sizing die for 260 and then trimming the case to length, and you may have to turn the necks depending upon what brass you're using to actually form that. So outside of those, actually getting into the accuracy stuff, like I said, the ballistics between the two, the actual ballistic curve is going to be very similar. When you start talking about a tactical rifle slash bench rest rifle, that's where you run into some rules issues. To my knowledge, most bench rest classes do not allow you to run muzzle brakes or suppressors or anything of that nature. Muzzle brakes are really key to a good performing rifle in tactical rifle competition. You need something in there to try to help mitigate that recoil and keep those sights on target, so you can spot your splash on long range, so you can watch what's going on down range, and so you can either send another round or get onto the next target rapidly. Not a lot of guys run bare muzzles in tactical rifle competition for the recoil reduction, but also because you want something up there to protect that muzzle. Very frequently you're threading the barrel through different obstacles, so you don't want to run the risk of jamming your crown into a rusty steel door jamb on a car or truck, or some cow pasture appliance or something. It's really we get in some really weird creative barricades, and I've watched a guy bring a rifle back and just jam it muzzle first into a barricade before accidentally. It does happen, and you want something there to protect it. So you really need to think about that when you're trying to determine if you are building a rifle to use for both bench rest and tactical rifle matches. But really, for me, I would suggest, before deciding on 6.5 by 47 or 260, look at the component availability, how your brass availability is. For me, going to 6.5 by 47 would mean I've got another type of primer that I need to keep on hand. So just little things like that kind of make a difference. But for me, in the ballistic standpoint, it's really a wash. Again, 6.5 by 47 may have a slight advantage in just sheer accuracy sides of things. Our next question comes from Mark, and Mark asks, say something about the Victor Titan 1022 stock. I've been waiting for your thumbs up or down before I bought one. Well, Mark, our 1022 project took a little setback. The Titan stock will be making an appearance really soon on it. So far, from what I've seen, the ergonomics of it are excellent. Very high quality, great fit and finish. We just had some accuracy problems that I really believe were the scope on our 1022 build, not the stock. But we'll be checking that out when we actually put the 1022 or the Titan 1022 stock on there. So please make sure you stay tuned for that. Greg asks how to choose the best grain factory load for your barrel length and twist rate. Well, Greg, basically what we get into with how to choose the best twist rate is the Greenhill formula. And we've covered this pretty much time and time again. It's not the weight of the bullet as much as it is the length and diameter of the bullet. compared to the muzzle velocity you're going to fire it at, and the twist of your bullet. Those are the things that are, or the twist of your barrel. Those are the things that are interlinked. So take a look at the Greenhill formula, and that will give you a basic guideline for what barrel twist you want to go at. Now, if you're going to shoot what bullet weight you're going to want to shoot in that barrel. Now, that will give you a general idea. With modern bullets, modern barrels, and modern rifling, we can fudge on that a little bit. So you always want to obey the minimum twist for a bullet, because you can have some instability issues when it comes out. But it's very difficult to over twist a bullet. So you really can't spin it too fast, with the exception of some really light grain varmint bullets that can explode if you spin them too quick. With most of what we're using for tactical rifles, you can overspin those bullets and still get good accuracy out of them. The thing to keep in mind is if you're not running absolute high quality bullets and the center of gravity for that bullet is off of its mechanical center a little bit, then the bullet will wobble when you fire it. The wobble will increase the faster you spin that bullet. So there you can run into a less accuracy the faster you spin the bullet. So I try to stay somewhere close to what the Greenhill formula specifies, but it's not an absolute. Oscar asks, XS Big Dot sights opinions. Well, Oscar, on handgun sights, I tend to be really conservative. I think sights like the Trijicon tritium sights are really a good option. I don't generally like things like the XS Big Dot sights because it doesn't give me a clean sight picture. They may be blazing fast up close where all you're doing is getting a flash sight picture of that front sight superimposed over the target. But if for some reason the mission dictates that I need to take a longer shot, I don't want to be hindered by my sighting system. I have gone with sights like the Trijicon HDs on my Glock 17 that's personally owned, so I can put whatever sights I want on it, because I really like the fact that the Trijicons are a standard sighting system. So the top of my sight picture, when I line up the front sight in the notch of the rear sight, I still get that hard line that I can bisect my target with. But if I need speed and I just need a really fast coarse sight picture, I've got that really nice big orange plastic circle around that front tritium vial that really sucks my eye in. And in bright sunlight, it sucks my eye in even faster. And I've used those sights now for a year shooting Steel Challenge, and I really enjoy using them. They're great sights, they run really fast, and if I still need to take a longer, precise shot, I can. I've used those sights for shooting 100-yard steel plates before with the Glock 17, and they work just fine. So that would be my preference over something like the XS Big Dot sights. I think they're just getting a little coarse, and I think you start to lose a little bit on them. But if you have vision problems and for some reason the Trijicon HDs don't do it for you, then you may need to look at something like the XS Big Dots. Keith asks, more on your 6.5 Creedmoor build. Well, Keith, we're going along with that. We are getting ready to release the next episode. I've got to finish editing on it, and we're going to talk about our range trip, how it functioned at the range, and getting our gas system dialed in. So that will be coming up real soon. We've got about 140 rounds through the barrel now. It's starting to settle down a little bit. We're starting to get better accuracy out of it, and we've got enough brass fired now that we can do some hand loads too. So that will be coming up, and we're going to see what we need to go about to resize that brass specifically for the MATEN, and what we can do on a load workup to get dialed in to a custom load specifically for that rifle. So that's coming forward. Make sure you stay tuned. Andy asks, is 223/5.56 a viable caliber for starting out and practical matches? Well, Andy, any rifle is really going to be a good thing to get you out and get you started in precision rifle shooting. The reason being, you're more interested in getting out there and seeing the format of the match, meeting the guys that are running it, seeing the equipment that they're running before you are dumping a bunch of money on a system that may or may not work for you. So an optically sighted AR in 223 or 5.56 or a bolt gun in that caliber is going to be good to go. Grab the most accurate ammo you have for it and go out there. Now, the disadvantage of that platform is in the 500 to 800 yard range, the wind is really going to start to play hell with those little 223 bullets. Additionally, depending upon the targets that you guys use at your local matches, you may run into problems with the 223 either being able to activate moving targets, swinging targets, flashers, that kind of thing, or on a regular steel plate target. Once they get beaten up and blow the paint off of them, it can be difficult for spotters to see impacts, and it can be difficult for spotters to hear impacts on a windy day at longer range targets. At our local matches, we have problems every now and again when a guy shows up with an AR to shoot. He may be shooting accurately, he may be hitting the targets, but it's difficult for us to spot those impacts and give him credit for it. So those are things you need to keep in mind. But please, if all you've got is a 223 or 5.56 rifle, still get out to your local matches, check it out, have fun, because that's what it's all about. You won't see a lot of them winning those matches. And if you do, the guy that's shooting it could probably win with just about anything, but it's still enough for you to get out, to have fun, and to get the experience of shooting off the barricades, shooting the different obstacles, and just shooting in a tactical rifle type format. So please get out there and shoot. Seth asks, my 700 is currently at the Smith getting outfitted with a new tube and 6.5 Creedmoor. I'm at a loss as to what projectiles to try out. I know I want to stay in the 140 grain range, but that does not do much to narrow it down. This load will be a target load and not used for hunting. Well, Seth, there are a couple of bullets out there that I would suggest you take a look at in the 140 grain range. The first being the 140 grain Berger Hybrid. That is really a game-winning bullet. Lots of guys are out there using it in the PRS type matches. In the Hornady range, you have the 140 grain AMAX and 140 grain Bowtail Hollow Point. I've used the 140 BTHP in a couple of PRS matches this year, and it works pretty well in our setup. Another option is the 140 grain Sierra Match King. Those will get you started. Any one of those bullets should give you an accurate load, but on the top end, the Bergers are a little more expensive, a little harder to get, but that is probably going to give you the best ballistic coefficient out of all of them. So give those a try if you can find them. The 140 Bowtail Hollow Points from Hornady are a little bit cheaper, and you can usually get those in bulk. So if you're having trouble finding a bullet, then give the Hornadys a try. And our last question comes from CJ. CJ asks, is a Kestrel with applied ballistics any use? Apart from having the wind reading at your position as it gives drops, etc., it is still guesswork assuming it's flat and the same wind speed at target. It's an expensive bit of guesswork. Can you have it as the only tool for the job? Love the show. Well, CJ, the Kestrels with applied ballistics or the ATRAG Kestrel, the Horus Kestrel, they both are very, very accurate ballistic computers. I would really not consider them guesswork. Now, they are only as good as the information that you put in. So if you're just guessing at what you plug in, then a guess is what you're going to get back. But if you're actually measuring and you're putting solid data into the Kestrel, then what you get back is a bit more than a guess. It's a scientifically significant amount of data that you can use to dial onto your rifle. Can it be the only tool for the job? Well, very frequently when I go out and I'm shooting matches, the Kestrel is the only thing I'm getting my ballistic data from. I'm not using an iPhone anymore. I'm not using anything else. I'm not using paper tables. I have paper tables as backups in my bag because if the Kestrel breaks, if the batteries go dead, if something happens, then I don't want to be totally out of luck. But I do rely on it for most of my information when I'm shooting matches. Now, it is a little bit tricky and sometimes can be intimidating at first to make sure that you set your gun data up correctly in the Kestrel. And there are some little tricks that I've learned in order to make sure that the Kestrel gets the right environmental data and keeps the right environmental data and doesn't change and give you false data during the match. And we're going to be doing a full Kestrel episode here soon where I take you through what I like about the Applied Ballistics Kestrel, how it compares to some of the lesser model Kestrels, and why it's become my one and only tool for precision rifle shooting. So to directly answer your question, yes, it can be. It's much better than a guess. It's as much scientific data as you really can get out in the field, and it can be a great tool for precision rifle shooting. Well, that's all we have for this Mail Call Mondays. I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode. I know you're going to ask me about the rifle sitting in front of me, so I'll go over it really quickly. I just shot one of our local matches this weekend, and I used the Accuracy International AT to shoot that match. Now, this isn't a regular factory AT. We've done a little bit of extra to it. We screwed on a Proof Research carbon fiber barrel, and we've got a Thunder Beast 30P1 out here underneath the Armageddon Gear suppressor cover, and it's sitting on a B&T Industries spigot mount with an Atlas bipod. And of course, I've got the Vortex Razor 5-20 Gen 1 sitting on top here. This rifle in its current configuration is what I'll be taking out to the Oregon Sniper Challenge. Now, shooting this this Sunday, it was kind of a shakedown to make sure that everything worked the way I needed it to work, that I didn't have any failures, and that the rifle was accurate. And I can tell you this, my performance at the Oregon Sniper Challenge will not be because the rifle worked or didn't work. The rifle is working fantastically, so now it's pretty much up to me to see how well I can perform there. When we get back, we're going to go ahead and put the factory barrel back on here, and we'll give you guys a full review of the Accuracy International AT. It's got some really neat tricks up its sleeve that makes it a notch above the AE Mark II that I normally shoot, and we're going to kind of try to do a compare and contrast and see why, if you're an AE owner, either a regular AE, a Mark II or a Mark III owner, why you might want to consider the AT. And also for you guys out there that may have early generation AW, the AT still may be a step up from those AWs. So make sure you guys stick around for that stuff. But I wanted to make sure I went over the rifle, because anytime I have something sitting up here, you guys are always good to ask me questions about it. Now, if you have questions or comments about anything we discussed in the episode, please leave them in the comment section below or send them to us on Facebook or Twitter. If you like the episode, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, get out and shoot!